I just want to go through some of these pictures with you, kind of break down some stuff I've seen. And I'm going to be breaking them down chronologically. So the first pictures you sent me were July 6th. The second pictures you sent me was on Wednesday, July 6th. And then the next picture you sent me was on the 9th. Okay. Man, I'm sorry if I did not get back to you faster, but let's go through it because I think you have some interesting pictures here that I can break down. So, and I'm guessing all the pictures you sent me, these are the earliest ones, and then these are the same plants, just maybe a day or two later. And if I'm wrong on that, please tell me. Okay. So do you see how the plant kind of curves, right? It's not going straight, it's going at a curve. Same thing on this side, it's curving. That means there's a little bit of excess humidity in the environment. And this kind of happening consistently with all of them. You see that same curve. And this is normal. A lot of times people will overwater their seedlings. And that's just showing signs of excess humidity in the environment, creating a VPD issue, right? Then if you scroll down a little further, this one's, I can't really tell if it's lighting or if it's sucrose kind of happening around the leaf. But when I look at the stem, it looks super purple, which these are all indications possibly of overwatering, right? Initially from the get-go. This leaf is looking a little better. It would make sense why it's growing straighter than the other ones is because it's a little more advanced and it's probably able to handle the harder conditions. So then when we come right here, we zoom in on the newest leaves. This one is looking like it's developing nicely. We'll go to the next one. This is a sign of excess phosphorus or potassium. And excess phosphorus or potassium can happen through salts building up in the soil, and then you do a good watering, and then the salts solubilize, and then there's an excess of phosphorus, potassium in the environment. And this happens so quickly because those are the most common. Beyond that, you also have a wavy thing happening. So do you see how this wavy thing's happening in the leaf? Those are all signs of VPD issues. But then in addition, do you see how the new growth is long and it's elongated right here and it's thin? It's not filling out in this center portion right here, right? It's staying thin and it's just elongated. It's like stretched out. Those are the key indicators of excess phosphorus and potassium. And how does that happen? Well, this normally happens as plants transition to flowering or late veg or when they're vegging for a long time because salts build up. And it can happen through living soil or synthetic fertilizer, both. It's more indicated when you're doing liquid fertilizer, but it can happen very easily in living soil because the bacteria are doing the same thing that the scientists did. They're solubilizing the dry amendments and bone meal and blood meal and all these things that are solubilizing them into salts. So I'm guessing, and when I look at the pot itself, and a picture says 1,000 words, right? When I look at the pot itself, I've always recommend people to water, and you're a new client, so we might have not got into the conversation, but you see the water where it's traveling in the pot right here? Those leaves right here, I normally recommend people to always water at least to the edge of the leaf. So if the leaf is going way over here, that soil should also be moist over here because we observed years ago through one of my other VIP growers that right when the tips of the leaves hit the edge of the pot, it seemed like the roots for a while were traveling alongside the same length of the leaves. So if the roots are already trying to travel in this area and this area is dry, right, then salts also are going to begin to build up in these areas, especially as they're drying back, because you can kind of see that there was some moisture in this area right here, but it dried back. Right. And this darker area is where the water dried back too. Right. So now what's happening is you're having probably a layer of salts build up right here on the edge, especially, and the edge right here. But your roots are extending past that. So I'm making a lot of assumptions here, but I'm making these assumptions through over a decade of visual observations of these plants, right? And what I'm guessing is salts were building up in those zones. Because your leaves are starting to get to the edge of your pot, I'm going to recommend to extend your watering further out on the outside edges, maybe even get to the point where you water completely the entire pot. But remember, the key to watering is to water not to the point where water comes out of the pot, because at that point you're flushing out your enzymes, you're flushing out your trace minerals, you're flushing out your biology, or even if it's synthetic fertilizer, you're flushing out your salts. But then when I go to the later pictures, look at the leaves now, right? They're looking more normal. It looks like they have grown out of the VPD issue. Look, they're growing nice and straight. And that's what you want to see. The moisture in the pot. Top is starting to dry out a little bit, but you could tell there's moisture right underneath it. And I'm guessing these were the same ones, same thing. So all your seedlings are growing out of the BPD issue, and these things can resolve themselves fairly quickly. But what's happening now with some of your other pots, and I do see that watering is starting to extend all the way out to the edge of the pot, but something in the center is still happening. And when you do have excess phosphorus and potassium, it locks out calcium, magnesium, iron, and zinc. And that looks like there is like an iron deficiency slightly happening in the center of that right here. Right. And I'm not saying to go out and add iron, like your plants are resolving themselves, and you still do see that elongated happening.